Hello friends. I'm bringing you this important information, in light of what we are all facing, a global pandemic. Because you have the right to know, what your government is injecting into your body, and in this case, using a swab Q-tip shoving it up your nose that contains tiny machines that deliver medicine. Again, you have the right to know, because you are paying for it. Nothing in this life is free, it's your body and your choice, regardless of a pandemic or not. You were given free will by your creator, so choose wisely. Remember, the government is not your friend because they lie, cheat and steal from the people worldwide. Let's read over the highlighted text, link provided below in the description box, and I'll be right back to give my final thoughts.
Welcome to another edition of The Enemy Exposes Their Global Takeover. Today's article comes to you by Medical Express, published on November 3, 2020. Article link will be provided below the video. Article title: Researchers engineer tiny machines that deliver medicine efficiently. Before I read the article, you must understand how the enemy's game is played. Here are their strategies. First, you must understand their language is subliminal. Second, the enemy uses speech to communicate with other governments. Third, their words have dual meaning, they speak in code. Fourth, do not take what the enemy says at face value. Fifth, the enemy uses keywords, which is a signal to other governments. Sixth, numbers, letters, colors and symbols have hidden meaning that the general public has no understanding of. Seventh, the enemy is the author of confusion and the father of all lies, there is no truth in him. Remember, the enemy is playing a game, their strategies, their rules, their codes and their language, what they are saying is not being directed towards you. The enemy turns our world upside down. Let me read the highlights from the article to you. Inspired by a parasitic worm that digs its sharp teeth into its host's intestines, Johns Hopkins researchers have designed tiny, star-shaped microdevices that can latch onto intestinal mucosa and release drugs into the body. Researchers and biomedical engineers that designed and tested shape-changing microdevices that mimic the way the parasitic hookworm affixes itself to an organism's intestines. Made of metal and thin, shape-changing film and coated in a heat-sensitive paraffin wax, TheraGrippers, each roughly the size of a dust speck, potentially can carry any drug and release it gradually into the body. Gradual or extended release of a drug is a long-sought goal in medicine. Normal constriction and relaxation of GI tract muscles make it impossible for extended-release drugs to stay in the intestine long enough for the patient to receive the full dose. We've been working to solve this problem by designing these small drug carriers that can autonomously latch onto the intestinal mucosa and keep the drug load inside the GI tract for a desired duration of time. Thousands of TheraGrippers can be deployed in the GI tract. When the paraffin wax coating on the grippers reaches the temperature inside the body, the devices close autonomously and clamp onto the colonic wall. The closing action causes the tiny, six-pointed devices to dig into the mucosa and remain attached to the colon, where they are retained and release their medicine payloads gradually into the body. Eventually, the TheraGrippers lose their hold on the tissue and are cleared from the intestine via normal gastrointestinal muscular function. We have seen the introduction of dynamic, microfabricated smart devices that can be controlled by electrical or chemical signals, he says. But these grippers are so small that batteries, antennas and other components will not fit on them. TheraGrippers don't rely on electricity, wireless signals or external controls. Instead, they operate like small, compressed springs with a temperature-triggered coating on the devices that releases the stored energy autonomously at body temperature. The Johns Hopkins researchers fabricated the devices with about 6,000 TheraGrippers per 3-inch silicon wafer. In their animal experiments, they loaded a pain-relieving drug onto the grippers. The researchers' studies found that the animals into which TheraGrippers were administered had higher concentrates of the pain reliever in their bloodstreams than did the control group. The drug stayed in the test subjects' systems for nearly 12 hours versus 2 hours in the control group.
Here are my final thoughts. You must understand the enemy's game tactics. They have to sell this to humanity so the people will accept without a clear understanding or knowledge. Basically deceiving the masses. Remember, they are snakes and wolves that are pushing their snake oils. We already know the fruits from global governments. They are rotten. They produce nothing, and whatever they manage is higher taxes, more enslaving the people, and death. Also, how do we know by what they are saying they are injecting as medicine? What about if it's the opposite? This tiny machine was not created to have a single application. I'm most certain it has other functions not disclosed. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be deceived, and I'm not their guinea pig for their next experiment. Also, will this tiny machine reprogram or change your DNA? Will you be hooked up to the Internet of Things, to the cloud? They say you will not need your cell phones anymore in the coming future, as we will be able to think about whom to call in our minds, and telepathically we will be talking to each other. If this is the coming future for humanity, where artificial intelligence controls you, why does global governments have to sneak artificial intelligence or upgrading your body? Why can't they simply be honest with the people? I'll tell you why. Because a big majority of humanity doesn't want to be upgraded, tracked, traced and controlled. My brothers and sisters, please share this information, use discernment, educate yourself with the facts, and don't be fooled by your leaders, because they care nothing about you nor your family and friends. Fear no more, because you were born to be free and independent. Peace and love.